Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing video. And in today's video we're going to be delving into the Underworlds. Yes, Warhammer Underworlds. We've got a brand new Warband and we've got a brand new Rivals deck as well to check out. So we're going to be concentrating first on the Knives of the Crone and then we'll move on to the Realmstone Raiders Rivals deck. So starting with these ladies, they are of course from the Daughters of Cain. They're the Knives of the Crone being the kind of freaky looking new addition to the Daughters range. She's kind of like the Spy. I don't know. I'm not quite sure on her backstory, but she's got the massive wings and the hair coming out of her eyes. It's very, very creepy. These are her lady friends, I guess. Her followers. So if we flip this over, there are actually some really nice models. You would think obviously with them being witches, we'd see kind of very similar poses. But they've done a really good job of making these quite dynamic. It might not be the most awe-inspiring of warbands, but I do actually think it's quite cool. In particular, these two in the middle, the Wing of the Crone and the named character there. And of course, you've got one with a crossbow and this one over here. So, like all the Underworld boxes, you get the miniatures and then you get the cards for each of the characters. You no longer get a deck in the boxes, you basically use the Rivals decks. That you can either pick up on their own or you can use the ones that are in the starter sets. So, let's get this unwrapped and let's check out those sprues. So these just come on the one sprue, staying in traditional Underworld fashion. They are a coloured plastic. These are like a really dark purple. They come with some really nice scenic bases. Again, as per most Underworld models. Some quite thin parts. They're all push fit, as Underworlds are. And it's also interesting to note that they are dated 2025, so they were always meant to come out this year. It's quite hard to pick out the details on the camera. But what I'll have is in the YouTube description, you'll be able to find a link to the website with the review of these gals and the Rivals deck. And there'll be some better pictures of the sprue for you to check out on a white background to make it a bit easier to pick out those details. But they look quite nice. Looking forward to getting some paint on these. Hopefully they're not too bad to put together. I do have a bit of a history of Underworld's models. Some of them require a third arm, but hopefully these will be one of the easier ones. I'm a bit worried about some of the really small details that they might potentially snap when I try and push them together, but we'll see. I'll let you know at the end of the video how I get on. So that's the Warband. You then, of course, get the cards, the character cards. So let's get this little packet open. Before actually we check out the cards, inside the little envelope, of course, was the instructions as well. So I just thought I'd quickly show you these. No glue required, all push fit models. It's literally just a front and back page to show you how to build them. So it's very, very straightforward. So the first card we're going to look at is the Warband card. So you get a big pile of these all in different languages, but we're just going to concentrate on the one in English. So on this side, it shows you the Warband, so it gives you a little bit of background and then points out which of the characters is which. The little fighter table there. And then we've got their abilities on the back here. So the Inspire, if foretold wisdom is foretold after a friendly fight and successful attack action as a result of the Visions of the Blood ability, inspire that fighter. Visions of the Blood, use this immediately after a friendly fight and successful attack. Make a prophecy roll. Okay, so these rules might take a little bit of reading and getting used to. The Rituals of Prophecy there. At the start of the first action step in each battle round, you can make a prophecy roll by rolling 4 attack dice. The roll contains one or more of the results of the prophecy table, and it's foretold. So, okay. I expected these just be like a glass cannon kind of storm the board and just kill things before they kill you, but looks like there could be quite a technique to using these ladies. I'll have a proper read of this for the review, so I'm just recording this kind of live. I've not seen this before, so I'll give these rules a proper read and get a proper feel for the Warband before I write the review. But do check out that link in the YouTube description. Sorry, I'm full of cold, so struggling to talk. You've got a little prophecy table at the side there. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, you've got the cards. So we've got the leader there. And then when she inspires. Krita. Jumping up. Sorry, I'm still trying to use this phone as a camera as well. You get lots of attack dice. At least at first glance. That's pretty cool. And then finally, the crossbow. So they're actually pretty cool. Quite a few attacks. Looking forward to properly reading that prophecy rule. Because it actually feels like it might be a slightly harder warband to use. A proper mastery one, which actually brings us quite nicely to the Rivals deck. Because the Rivals deck is a mastery deck. Bear with me and I'll get those ready to look at. So we've taken the little card box out of the packaging. It's a really nice little deck box, but what really gets on my nerves is they put a sticker over the bit that opens, and the adhesive is that strong that you can't help but end up ripping the nice box. Just such a shame. I guess I know they want to seal it, but use something slightly less sticky because I've now ruined such a nice little box. So a little bit of a vent there. So let's have a quick flick through this. In fact, before we do that, let's read the back of the box. It kind of gives you a bit of a flavour for the deck. So, the Realmstone Raiders is a mastery playstyle deck. Attack your foes to harness the power of the Emberstone employees and upgrades. Manipulate your power deck and play those cards early to defeat your rivals. So again, looking at these cards fresh, I haven't seen these before. We'll take a very quick flick through. What I'll do is I'll have a closer look at them for the review. So again, do make sure you check out that in the description. So you've got a card that tells you which cards are in the deck, with a little bit of lore. And then what have we got here? While using this Rivals deck, immediately after the first successful friendly melee attack is an attack step, you can raid a number of times equal to the bounty characteristic. Okay. So again, I will do very quickly having a look at these. I will give it a bit more of a read for the review. But we're opening up with our objective cards. It's really nice photo work. I do miss the kind of cartoon drawn style of the old Underworlds cards. But these two still look pretty sweet. Realmstone Raid. Does like a massive scoring. 2 is probably the maximum in regards to glory points. Some nice ploys, power cards. We'll move on to some upgrades. Realmstone Edge, that's pretty cool. Some pretty generic upgrades there. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll give those a proper read. And I'll summarise that in the review over on the website. What I'm hoping to do next is get the models all built, sprayed and painted. So after this next transition, hopefully I can show you some nice models. So fingers crossed. So a little time has passed since the beginning part of this video, and I'm pleased to say that I have built and sprayed the models. Unfortunately, I did run out of time and I didn't get to paint them. However, I did get to at least get them assembled for you to have a look at. Again, there will be some pictures on the website, so make sure you check out that link. Probably talked about the link way too much. They are really nice models. When I first saw them get announced, I wasn't that really struck on them, but they have grown on me. One thing I will say is I did not enjoy assembling them. They are easy build kits, but, and I've kind of joked about this with other Underworlds warbands, that you almost need like a third arm to hold them, and a few of the parts require you to balance, like this guy, for example. When you're sort of doing this crossbow, you're having to balance a couple of parts and then get the third part that then clips all the parts together. It's just a bit of a fiddle and a faff, and especially with these having very thin limbs, I've nearly snapped 2 or 3 ankles on these models, in particular putting them into the bases. The leader, in fact, this lady here, I've had to glue her head because I actually snapped part of her neck. I tried not to apply too much force, but sadly it did break. So be super careful when you're assembling them. Try not to apply too much pressure. Try to make sure your sprues are nice and clean once you've unclipped them. And yeah, just take your time really. But once they're built, they are actually quite a nice looking warband. I think they're going to be quite fun to play in Underworlds. The stats are nothing, in my opinion anyway, spectacular, but they're okay. The Rivals deck, the more I've kind of looked at the cards and obviously I've written the review, I actually really like it. And I think it's one of my favourite Rivals decks so far in this new edition of the game. It's a mastery deck, but I actually feel like it's got some play with some other warbands as well. I wouldn't mind trying it with my Seraphon, so that might have to take place pretty soon. So yeah, big thumbs up from me. The Warband are okay, they're cool, but the Rivals deck in particular I do like, and I am looking forward to trying out with some of the Warbands. Thanks again to Games Workshop for sending these over for us to review and unbox for you guys. Do make sure you check out that link for the full review and some better pictures of the models and the cards. But until next time, have a great time hobbying, and I'll speak to you again all very soon. Bye!